Good evening, everybody. My name is Kaushik, and I'm one of the members working in Antwerp. A very warm welcome to everybody. People who've joined in here for our masterclass, we can't wait to kick it off. So, just to give you an introduction, Antwerp is an edtech company. We've been into the business for quite some time now, and we have tremendous amount of content generated across various disciplines, including cybersecurity, product management, digital marketing, and others. And today, it's been almost exactly a month since we've launched out a boot camp for cybersecurity, and we have one more coming on the way and across different fields. So today's session is going to be majorly around web application security and digital forensics. Just to give you a brief also about the company, we've been having multiple sponsors, and recently we've also acquired the Google Accelerator Startup Program as well. And we have gained popularity in a very short time because our entire course modules, our entire videos are made from real professionals. Most of you guys who joined here, real professionals, real insights. That's what we live with. So, without any further delay, I'd like to get into today's agenda. So, we're going to discuss majorly around web application security. We're going to talk about OWASP. We're going to talk about a couple of other things around DevSecOps and recent instances and incidents. So, about our expert today, Mr. Jagdish Prasad. Uh, I'm going to divide his introduction into three sections. I'll keep it as start from professional experience. He comes with a mammoth of 3+ decades of global IT experiences. He's worked with big guns like TCS for more than a decade. He's worked for HCL for more than 7+ years in HSBC, to name a few. Recently, he's acquired a CISO certification by EC Council, and he's worked for most of the APAC regions and also US, Canada, Singapore, to name a few. As far as his teaching and training expertise are concerned, he is a guest faculty at BITS Pilani, and he's been doing that for more than a couple of years. Comes with a specialty around cyber and network security, cloud computing, machine learning. And in addition to that, he has also conducted a good amount of trainings around corporates for cybersecurity and machine learning. And as far as his qualification is concerned, he's a BTech from the NIT Kurukshetra, along with IIT Madras's MTech Introduction Engineering. I've had the privilege to interview him, and his videos are up there on our website. So some basic rules would request you everybody to stay on mute. We're going to try to keep this session as interactive as possible. Whenever you have Q&A or any sort of questions, you can either put them into the chat that we'll try to answer towards the later end of the session, or else we have a dedicated Q&A session towards the end. So I would request you to raise your questions from there. So without any further delay, good evening, Jagdish sir. The stage is yours. Would request you to just present your screen to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaushik. Thank you very much for a generous intro. And we've been working for some time now, and it's been a pleasure working with Antwerp. And welcome to all of you this evening. 7 o'clock on Wednesday evening, I see almost about 170 plus. So that shows the energy, and that shows the enthusiasm, and that shows the intensity towards this class. So what we're going to have, as Kaushik said, that we're going to divide it into few stages. We'll talk about we'll talk about web application security in general. But before that start, let me start with a very quick demo on a web. So I'll take you to. I'm going to share my screen, and then you guys just, if you can confirm, if you guys can see my screen. Can you?
Yes, sir. Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes, okay, great. So this is, have you guys seen this screen? This is last 24 hours, not immediately preceding last 24 hours, but this is the 24 hours of 31st May, midnight to 1st of June midnight. This is the kind of the number of total attacks, almost about 716 million. Now this includes the smaller ones. Hello. So can we mute, please, everybody?
Yes, sir. Actually, I'm muting
He just
everybody.
unmuted it. Yep. I think somebody are unmuting it. Sorry, sir.
Yeah, that's okay. So no, that's fine, guys. Just it's okay. I actually like an unmuted class, but just so that we don't have background, distractions. So if you look at this, is what is happening. You look at every second the number of attacks. I wanted to share some statistics with you before I start. Uh, average average attack costs about 4.7 million to a medium to large size companies. I'm not talking about SMEs, but medium to large size company. Any attack which happens, it costs on an average about $4.7 million. Big amount. If you just do a bit of mathematics on that, it comes to about $8,500 per minute only on one type of attack. That's ransomware. You guys would know, only on ransomware. So forget about other attacks like DOS and ping of death and those kind of things. In 2021, there's almost about 4 trillion of projected losses. By 2025, these losses, because of cybersecurity attacks or cybersecurity related incidents, the losses to companies will mount to about 10.5 trillion. Big, big. India's GDP is not 10.5 trillion. We are trying to become a 5 trillion company, 5 trillion country by 2025. And cybersecurity itself will cause losses across the globe of 10.5 trillion. So that's the scale we are going to talk. We are talking about. Now let's come back to this thing. So let's come back to. Give me a sec. Okay. So now, how many of you fly Air India? How many of you fly Air India? Did you have seen this news? 22nd May, Air India, about 4.5 million customer records were breached, and this happened for all the customers which were registered between 2011 to 2021. Now, this is not a news in isolation. There are a number of other things. A massive ransomware attack happened on PTI last year. There was an attack on Dr. Reddy's lab. Haldiram, a very famous sweet shop. Those of you who are in NCR region, you would know they were attacked in last July-September period. So this is something which is huge. We have 52% of Indian companies which they were attacked in last 12 months. And this is the statistics as good as about end of March. So it's something, cybersecurity is an area. The point which I'm trying to make is cybersecurity is an area which is exploding like anything, from the career perspective and even from the monetary benefit perspective. So that's a little brief intro to cybersecurity, the landscape, the opportunities available, and then Kaushik, you want to go for the poll?
Sure, sir. So, guys, we're just running a quick poll. So the poll is right in front of you in the chat. So it's a quick question. We just request you to pop in your answer. We're just going to pop in as in your votes to it. So the question is around vulnerability scanners. So yeah, please feel free to send your vote and we'll just have a look into what the results are.
Come on, guys. Still about 40.
We can end the polling now.
Yeah, I think that's a fair. We've gone about 80%, so that gives us a fairly good idea.
Yeah. I think it's quite knowledgeable cloud.
Yeah, it's good to know that we have knowledgeable participants. You guys know Nmap, you guys know Metasploit, which are pretty good tools, and NASA's. So good, great. It's going to be fun next 45, 15 minutes, guys. So yes, Kaushik, if you can. If you can end sharing your this thing.
Yes, so you can go ahead. I have stopped sharing.
Sir, you're the one whose screen is showing out.
Yep.
So your screen is presenting right.
Okay. Right. So now when we were looking at that graphics in the website where number of attacks were happening from US to Russia to China to a number of countries, how a cyber attacker or how an hacker goes about creating an attack. Is it something, when somebody puts a virus on your machine, is it just a couple of minutes job, or what kind of sequence he or she goes through? So it's any cyber attack, and especially the kind of cyber attack which was planned on Air India database or the Google DDoS attack. They're very planned activities. Any cyber attack goes through 8 major phases. And these are reconnaissance, weaponization, delivery, exploitation, installation. And the actual work, if you guys, this is where the actual work happens when a attacker does, if he has to steal some secrets, if he has to destroy any database, if he has to copy some files and everything, he does it. But prior to that, these are the steps which are very, very important. And one of the steps which is very important is reconnaissance or intelligence gathering. The first step and takes maximum time. Finally, copying the file or getting the data or destroying a database might take few minutes. This may take few months, because this is where you identify who you are going to attack, how you are going to attack. It's like a thief planning a theft at a house. The thief does lots of intelligence gathering when the residents are not there in the house. How he can get into the house? What are the holes? Is there a window, broken window, or is there something from the roof side where there is an open passageway where you can go down? So this is where you find out, and attacker finds out that what is the route I'm going to take. So reconnaissance is when you find out something called vulnerabilities. In cybersecurity terms, we call it vulnerability. Now, once we have found out a vulnerability, like if you guys have heard about in January, February, there was a SolarWinds issue with number of US departments were attacked. So once that vulnerability is found out, then a piece of code is developed. It's called weapon. And that piece of code exploits that vulnerability to give that access. So suppose if it's in a house and there is a window which is not locked from inside. So then to get to that window, if that window is on the second floor, then I need to have some sort of mechanism to go through that window. And that could be a ladder, or that could be something else. So then there is a weapon. And what kind of weapon can go through that? Then the third stage comes, how do I deliver that weapon to that system? It can be through an email attachment, it could be through a USB drive, or it could be through a phishing website, where I attract the victim to come to the website and then click on a link. And so I developed a weapon, I've delivered a weapon, and then once the weapon is delivered on the target, then it installs itself. And then it identifies more vulnerabilities, or it creates more vulnerabilities. So it could be like, privilege escalation. And when that happens, then that weapon starts connecting. That exploitation starts connecting back to the attacker. And it says that, yes, we are ready now. We can go for it. And the attacker takes the complete control of the situation. The attacker can now control the machine. He or she has got the higher privileges, which can be used to execute commands, like he or she has got admin privileges and those kind of things. And once that happens, then the attacker starts executing the actual motive, whatever the motive was for that particular attack. So it could be financial, it could be an ideological, or it could be a mere destruction. So if you know, most of the ransomwares are for financial gains, but at the same time, if you would have heard about, there was an attack on Iranian nuclear site, a Stuxnet. It was more of a nation state. It was a cyber warfare. Then it could be ideological. There are different ideological groups. It could be religious, it could be political, or it could be something. They want to expand their ideological things. And once that attack has been conducted, and once that attack has been over, then somebody has to go out. The attacker goes out, and at that time they clean up the attack scene or the crime scene. So it's like in a physical crime scene. Once the criminal goes out, they try to clean up as many evidence as possible. They tries to rub off. Something similar the attacker does here. So they will delete the log files. They will delete other evidences which could be there. So those are the things which they do. So these are the 8 stages through which any attack goes. And critical thing is the intelligence gathering and weapon development and delivery. They take much more time than the actual attack. Actual attack probably could have taken only, maybe 10, 15 or half an hour. But preparation to launch that attack, to execute that attack, would have taken months. So it's not something which is very can be done something very fast and very easily. It requires good amount of skill, good amount of intelligence gathering, good amount of information about your target and everything. So that's the overall stages of cyber kill chain, or that's a complete life cycle of an attack. Now, how do we develop? Now, today we have web applications. Gone are the days when the applications used to run in organizations, their own network. Nobody could access it from outside. Today you have applications, your bank application, where you can do transaction on your own. You can transfer funds. You can make investments and everything online. So, and these are connected to the bank. You are connected to the bank through internet, which is inherently open. Anybody can, get onto that internet, and they can listen to, provided they have the right tools. So web application security has become very, very important in today's scenario. This is what in our course we'll be looking at. Now, how do we build applications which are strong enough so that the tools and technologies available to the hackers, they cannot penetrate or they cannot attack those applications. So it involves 2 two types of controls. One is control when we are developing and designing the application. It must be a secure development. So it has to take care of a number of things. It has to take care of that the data when it travels on internet, it's not in, it's unencrypted, it's encrypted so that nobody else can see it. So confidentiality maintained. The other thing is there should be mechanisms in the application so that nobody can modify that data when it is on the network. Integrity. And third thing is that the application should be available whenever one wants to use it. That's some third thing, which is called availability. So we are talking here about the three basic tenets of cybersecurity. So which is CIA: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And secure application development is very, very critical towards that. Another thing is, once we have done a development, then another thing is that it has to be tested thoroughly. And it has to be tested not only from the functionality perspective, not only from the performance perspective, but also from the security perspective. And then there are these different ways of testing applications from security perspective. So you have dynamic application security testing, which is basically a black box testing from security perspective. Static application testing, which is white box testing, but from security perspective. Penetration testing and runtime application self-protection testing are in production environment, or once the application has been put into, then there is a third party which tests it for vulnerabilities. Okay, so this is something briefly about what web application security is. Now, inherently, web applications have a number of vulnerabilities, but these are some of the vulnerabilities which hackers exploit, and they take advantage of these to get into the application and get the kind of the results or actions they want to carry out. The first thing is SQL injection. Now, SQL injection is, we know all our applications, end of the day, the data is stored in some database. It could be a relational database or it could be a non-relational database. Now, that data is extracted using query language. And those queries are formed in the application. Now, somehow, if those queries are not formed in a secure manner, then a user can, or an attacker can put their own query. Like suppose if there is no good validation, in a normal scenario, if it's a authentication where we enter user ID and password, in the back end, in a very simplistic scenario I'm taking, there's a query running where it says that select where user ID is entered user ID and password is entered password. So it's where user ID equals user ID and password equals password. So if I know the user ID and I don't know the password, but if I write and 1 equals 1, very simple, 1 equals 1 is always true. And that will give me entry into the database. So SQL injection exploits the vulnerability in a database where I can exploit the queries. I can form queries which will get me the data which I'm not authorized to see. Now the next, something similar, but on a different level, is that I can do something at a form level where my HTML, my all pages are written in HTML kind of language. It could be HTML or it could be JavaScript or whatever it is. So over there are a number of scripts used. So if I can manipulate a script and my development is not secure enough, and where a hacker can plug in his or her own code. And this normally happens, like suppose if I have a comments page or feedback page on my website. where normally I'm expecting people to write general text, but a hacker can come in and put in a JavaScript or an HTML script, which could have malicious code. So then it will go and get executed, and it will exploit the data which I got. Similarly, the next higher level of attack strategy is cross-site request forgery, where altogether I'm inviting a user. A hacker can invite a user through various mechanisms. Either it could be a malicious link, or it could be end of the day it will be a malicious link. It could be a malicious link or an OCR code reading or whatever it is. And based on that, because when you're executing anything in a browser, and even if you execute a link which a hacker has sent you, it runs with your own permission. If that link is malicious, so it'll trick me into executing an unintended action from the hacker. So it'll make a request, and based on that I can do anything. It can change my email ID, it can change my password or whatever it is. Buffer overflow is more of a system level, slightly high level concept, where an anomaly that occurs when software writing data, in computer there are buffers to write temporary data. Now if that buffer has a limited size. If a program is writing beyond that limited size, then it will corrupt rest of the memory, and the system will behave unpredictably, and that's a advantage an hacker can take. Denial of service is basically generating the amount of traffic, because a server which is providing a service, it has a limited capacity. It's like a highway. On a highway, it's designed for so many passenger vehicles per minute or per hour. But if more than that number of vehicles come on a highway, there is a traffic jam. Same thing happens in denial of service. So a hacker creates huge amount of traffic, and because of which even genuine requests coming from legitimate users, they don't get service. Data breach, of course, is as we talked about the Air India case. This is where sensitive data is taken out. It can be copied. So that's about some of the common vulnerabilities: SQL injection, cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery, buffer overflow, denial of service, and data breach is more in general terms. And these are the things which we'll be covering in the course in detail when we, we'll cover how these, what are the structure of these vulnerabilities, how these can be exploited, and then there are examples of exploitation. Another quiz time. So, yes, Kaushik.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we're just going to have a quick quiz. It's going to be something around web application security. We're going to paste the quiz in the chat. It's just a yes or a no question. And just have a go at it.
Good. So it's a very close contest, right? Great. So I think everybody can see the results. So it's 50-50. Okay, good guys.
So I have stopped sharing the result. You can continue.
Okay, so I can continue. Thank you. Okay, so we're talking about secure development, and there are these three concepts: DevOps, DevSecOps, and SecDevOps. Now, in traditional and in the earlier days of development or any software lifecycle, what used to happen that we used to develop something, and then it was, so we will design, we'll code, we'll build, we'll test, we'll release, maintain, and operate. These are the SDLC cycles for everything. In DevOps Secs, the security part used to come only when we have deployed something, and then we'll start looking for, deploy the security. We will look for security related controls, like it could be a firewall, or it could be, I would go for HTTPS or whatever it is. But that was very, very vulnerable. And it was at the last fag-end when I'm about to go into application production. And if there were any security related issues were found, it would create a lot of problems. So the next best thing which we started doing was DevSecOps. So during testing, we started testing for security as well. Not only will test for normal functionality as well as non-functional parameters, but we'll also test for security related things. Much better approach than going and checking for security in operation phase, but still there an issue. Issue is that if I found any security related issue and which required development or design change, I would all the way go back here and there'll be a lot of rework. So today the concept is DevSecDevOps. When I'm designing at that point of time, during design itself, we built security so that the reverse doesn't happen. We have taken care of all security related aspects in our design, and that's how the application is built. And that gives you the best return in terms of project management, schedule management, cost management, and then of course, time to market, and then efficiency. So those are the three paradigms of software development lifecycle. Traditionally, it was development, then put into operation, and then check for security or deploy security. Then it went to development and check your application for security related features during the normal testing phase. And then of course it goes into ops. Today, build security into your design. So at the start of your project, you think about security as well. And that's what happens today. So these are the details. Integrate security in DevOps, integrate security at the end of the development process, integrate security in DevSecOps at the testing phase, and integrate security at the part of design. And it's part of your CI/CD pipeline. So this is the paradigm shift in the way applications are built. What we were taught, what the traditional way of developing applications was, and what the new way of developing application is. And this is something, again, which we're going to talk in detail in our course. Okay. And this is where, when I was talking about secure application development, so an application security is very, very important today, because a customer is not bothered. As an Air India frequent flyer, I'm not bothered how that breach took place. But end of the day, it's my trust in Air India systems which goes for a toss. And this can actually make and break a business. If it happens frequently, companies can go out of business. It is a statistics that companies who are frequently in a year, if they are subjected to a couple of big attacks, 72% of those companies went out of business in 2 years. Huge amount of the sensitive data. And it's not only that you go out of business, but that sensitive data is today controlled by lots of regulation. Every government has regulation on private data and how it has to be protected, because it can't be left open. Like Europe has GDPR requirement. US has number of other requirements, HIPAA being one of them. Credit card has another requirement, PCC, credit card data. It has to be, managed. So secure development takes care of an application security, so that it's not only, you do it for your business objective, but you do it for your organization's credibility, you do it for your customers' trust in you, and you do it for regulatory compliance. There is an organization called OWASP 10, and we have a slide down there, which is a community forum and which documents these risks, and which are, so users of application do not care, as I said, whether their losses are because of the issues in application or security breach. Building secure application is thus very, very critical. It's not only cost effective, but it also gives an edge over a competitor. So it becomes a competition point. Now, there are a number of security trends and tools. The trends are that we are shifting towards cloud. Ransomware is a big threat because it has got huge financial gains for the hackers. At the same time, it has got huge financial implication for the organizations. Open source attacks are on increase. API vulnerability. Now, APIs means that there are different organizations, their systems can talk together. In India, like I can go and I can build an application, and I can interface that application with Aadhaar database or my PAN card database, provided I have required permissions and licenses. Now, if somebody in between can interrupt that API transmission or API communication, that guy will get hold of that data. So it becomes a problem. Security as a platform is becoming a big opportunity now. So all security companies, they're developing features and tools and platforms which can give a head start to any organization which wants to implement security into their systems. Increased use of multi-factor authentication. We know if you guys are using banking systems, and especially when you're doing banking transactions, it's not only your user ID and password, which is okay. There'll be a second level or third level of authentication. So it could be an OTP, or it could be an OTP plus on your debit card, there is a grid. So numbers on that grid. When you change your password, again, there could be a multi-factor authentication. So now, because security has become so intense and so huge, so there is an opportunity for huge amount of automation and security using machine learning and artificial intelligence. And then there is COVID-19 consequences. COVID-19 consequences are mainly from work from home, and the amount of security or tools like firewall and everything which you could use from an organizational environment is not there in a home environment, We just have a router, which has a limited security. So how to overcome that? Then there are a number of tools. So this is the list. I'm not going to read through everyone, but these are the tools which help hackers as well as the security personnel to avoid. So now quickly, I'm passing over to Entwak about our details about our program. So over to you, Kaushik.
So guys, it's been really great that you guys have been participating in the quiz. It's been brilliant. I'm just not going to take much of time because we still have bits and pieces of the session left up. Sir, if you can go to the next screen, please.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. So our entire course is spread across 16 weeks, which contains about 12 weeks of core islands or competencies is what we call it. And the 4 weeks is going to be completely soft skills. We're going to help you prepare your CVs, build up your LinkedIn profile, give you mentoring sessions. And the highlight is that you're going to get this done also real professionals. Now, as far as the classes are concerned, we are not going to run the classes every week on a daily basis. It's just going to be weekly basis, wherein you're going to have one class on a Saturday and a couple of classes on a Sunday. And the highlight is all these classes are going to be taught by industry experts, people like Jagdish sir and many more who work in the industry every now and then and have been in the industry for more than decades together. Now, an overall purview about how it is we have more than 40 plus live classes. And every class is backed up with a specific project so that we ensure you not only learn conceptually, but also get a hands-on dirty with your different type of projects and tools which are necessary for a security professional. On top of it, every week begins with a pre-read so that when you are sitting in the class, you are aware of what's going to be taught in the class. And all our tools are spread across the different islands that we're going to be teaching. And all the projects that are given to you are going to be graded by industry professionals who have been there, who've done that, and their experiences and expertise is going to act like a medium for you to grow more in the individual, as an individual in the arena. Now, if you check out the program fee, it's 49,999. But as we're going to run some discount here, if you use a promotion code with Jagdish Prasad, so 0106, you're going to get a flat 5,000 rupees off. And we are very, very flexible when it comes to the payment bit of it because you get an option with zero cost EMI with just 444 a month. Now, just a brief, sir, if you can give us the next slide, please. Thank you so much, sir. So this is going to be the first half of our islands because what we believe in as a company is not giving you just one or two end-to-end courses, but then giving you an overall 360-degree experience across what is needed in today's day as a growing individual. There was a point of time you would have a testing experience and you could just get into the industry or have some programming language. But today, you need to know everything from cybersecurity, information security, network security, know about cyber attacks. As you saw, our web application security class began with the discussion of cyber attacks. Web application security, which is going to be taken by Jagdish sir, incident management. So these are half of the courses. And if you see, every course is going to be intensively hands-on. We're going to get you to do all these labs on Kali OS. We're going to walk you through virtual boxes. We're going to learn tools like Nmap, Wireshark, which has amazing potential. We're going to get you to write academic reports, threat reports, so that they match up to the standards of companies like FireEye or Mandiant, and also use tools like Burp Suite, OWASP, ZAP. As Sir was talking about OWASP, they've developed a tool called ZAP, and also with incident management tools like Jira and Zendesk, to name a few, along with the entire incident response process and everything. So just one more slide, please. Yeah, thank you so much. And digital forensics, again, is going to be taken by Jagdish, because in today's day, with the growth of cyber attacks, it is not only essential to understand the security aspect of certain things, but also understand the forensic bit of it, because forensics teaches us how it happened and what are the loopholes so that we could go ahead and ensure that that instance doesn't happen again. And we teach you industry tools like autopsy. We teach you tips about GHEXs and INCIF, which is also another tool which gives you a lot of options or details about images. And in addition to all these things, you also get an angle about GRC, governance, risk, and compliance, wherein we talk about NIST, ISO, GDPR, and even the recent Indian IT law that has been given into implementation. If you've seen the news, a lot of IT companies now have been revised with certain rules. So we're going to be teaching you everything including identity and access management with some basic case studies of CyberArk, SailPoint, ForgeRock, and Oracle Identity Manager. And as Jagdish sir even started at the beginning saying that all of the entire arena is shifting to cloud, we thought that we should give you a purview about cloud as well. So you're going to be learning not only about on-premises, but you're also going to learn about cloud technologies, including AWS and Google platforms, in addition to the cloud computing technology.
Sir, your sound is a little bit slow, sir.
Okay, am I audible now?
Sir,
yeah,
your
finally,
sound is a little bit slow.
Yeah, can you check your headphones, please? And our last island is going to be about cyber threat intelligence, wherein you're going to learn about MISP repositories and OpenCTI and other details. So we are not going to teach you one, not two, not three, but we're going to teach you about 10 different islands. And every island has a corresponding tool that will be covered during the class. So just one more slide, please. Thank you, sir. And as I mentioned to you at the beginning of the class, we already have one of the patches which is in progress. It's almost been a month and we've already covered the first 3 islands. Jagdish sir is going to be taking 2 islands out of it, the major ones, which is web application security and digital forensics. So I urge everybody to check the link out, register. You'll get an entire brochure describing what you're going to be doing about the course. And once this video is available, you can also go through. But I strongly urge you to make use of the discount. The links will be shared in the chat. Quickly go through it. And even if you register, we'll have one of our Antwork mentors talk in and walk you
facility,
through.
sir?
Yes, it is there. You can check. It is there with zero cost EMI.
Yeah.
And without any further delay.
If you look at, there is an EMI facility.
Correct. Thank you so much, sir. So, yeah.
So will there be any live projects on web application? Like, will the hunting of all the vulnerabilities will be shown on the live applications or on testing labs?
That will be a part of the project that will be given to you. So we'll be using different platforms like Metasploit, Burp Suite, and other things.
Sir, you also provide lab classes, sir. Lab also,
yes.
lab classes.
Yes, we will be.
I'm not talking about tools, but about
whatever questions are there, I'll attempt it or answer it towards the end of the session, or you can start putting it into the chat window because we need to also conclude the session. So if at all you need any details, start putting them into the chat and I'll answer them. Without any further delay, Jagdish sir, I wish to request you to continue further, please.
Yeah. Thanks, Kaushik. So I think towards the end, we'll talk about a couple of more topics on cybersecurity. One is about OWASP and another is about digital forensic very quickly, and then we'll open this for questions. So OWASP, as I said, it's an open web application security project. It's a community project. It's backed by all these big IT organizations, IT service providers, IT manufacturers like IBM, Accenture, all these are their part of. There are and it has chapters across the world, tens and thousand members across the world. And what it does, the key thing which I want to share here is that they publish every 2 years or 3 years, what are the top 10 vulnerabilities in application. And their current list says that injection, which is SQL injection or any other type of injection, which is on the top. Then broken authentication, sensitive data exposure, cross-site scripting, which we talked about, insecurities, deserialization, which we'll talk about during the course, using components with known vulnerabilities. There was one quiz here. We had that. Insufficient logging and monitoring, which actually helps you in tracking an attack, how it happened. XML related vulnerabilities, broken access control, and security misconfiguration. What we're going to do in our web application security course is that we are going to go through details of each vulnerabilities, how these are exploited, what kind of risks are there, and how these can be prevented. So those are the kind of things which will be teaching during the course. So far what we have seen is we have seen what web applications are, what are various types of vulnerabilities, how OWASP has categorized what vulnerabilities. Attacks still happen. Attack on Air India still happen. Now how they're going to, we figure out that how this attack was carried out and who carried it out, how we track it back, How do we find out the criminals? It's like in a physical crime, the cops find out the criminal. So, yep. So before we go there is another quiz, a short quiz.
This is the last quiz for the day, and we'll quickly get it done with. And it's up.
That's a good one. Guys, read the question and then, yeah. Yep, I think we can end. And the answer is insecure serialization. Actually, OWASP has insecure deserialization.
Perfect, perfect. I think most of them have answered brilliantly.
Yep, most of them are. Yep, that's great.
All right, cool.
Okay, so in the last part, the digital forensic is like physical forensic. So this is a counterpart of that, where all cyber attacks, they are traced out. They are traced out how it happened, who carried out, and the whole process of doing an analysis and doing an investigation in an attack, how it happened, and then of course taking it to the logical conclusion where the criminals, they get punished. So digital forensic is the scientific examination and analysis of the data held on or retrieved from computer storage media in such a way that the information can be used as an evidence in a court of law. So what kind of precautions you must take? There is something called chain of custody, because digital evidence is very, very susceptible to corruption or change. Suppose a timestamp change of a file had changed, this will not be admissible in the court of law, because it should have the same timestamp as that of the time of crime. So we'll be having separate sessions. We'll talk about digital forensic. We'll talk about what is the process of digital forensics, what are the various tools and what are the various steps, and what are the regulatory provisions for digital forensics. So this is a quick brief thing about cybersecurity and especially web application security. We've gone through. Now it's open for questions and answers. Feel free, guys. So,
I think one of the questions that was repeatedly asked was how important is it to have a programming knowledge or coding knowledge to enter into this field or progress in this field?
So yes, the basic programming knowledge is required, but you don't have to be an ace programmer, because as part of cybersecurity or as cybersecurity analyst, you do write some scripts, you do write some small programs. So a basic knowledge is good, and it's not difficult to get that. The kind of tools which are used, they come out with their own script. So most of the tools are GUI driven, like let's say Bubshoot or Wireshark or JAP. So over there, you have a very good user interface. You don't have to do much. But say if you want to do penetration testing, that's where you need to write some scripts. So it's like in Unix, if you want to do something, you need to know shell script, but it doesn't mean that you need to know C, because there are utilities already available. You should know how to sequence that utilities. So a basic knowledge is required, but you don't have to be an ace programmer.
we just got another question, which is why is the cybersecurity infrastructure lagging in India?
Sorry, Kaushik, if you can repeat.
Sorry. So the question is, why is cybersecurity infrastructure lagging in India?
In India.
Yep.
Okay, good question. I think it's much better than what it was a few years ago, maybe a decade ago. It has changed quite a lot because it follows the overall infrastructure development, and I'm talking about the computer infrastructure development. All the large organizations today, they are pretty conscious about it, and they use and they put good amount of focus on cybersecurity. So their systems are very, very secure, and they put the required infrastructure for that. But if you go into the small and medium segment of organizations, that intense focus is still to come in. So it's not that the tools are not available or they can't implement those tools. It's more of the criticality and being part of the business focus. But good thing is that for last 4 or 5 years, it has become, organizations have started realizing it. I was consulting with a customer and they had a ransomware attack, and overnight their security infrastructure was upgraded like anything. So long answer to a question, but it's more of, I mean to say that how much an organization wants to do.
Thank you, sir. We just have a quick poll about today's session. We'll continue another 2 or 3. We'll take another 2 or 3 questions. Meanwhile, it's hardly going to take you about a second, like 10 seconds to finish off this feedback, so that we could just make the next one better, and we can ensure that we also have different experts like Jagdish sir to also come and share their expertise here. Jagdish sir, we also have one more question. With cybersecurity being a very vast field, how can we determine which one do we fit in?
I think it depends on your interest, which area you want to go in. And it starts from, the good thing is that cybersecurity has different areas where you can go for specialization. Do you want to go about incident management? Do you want to go about security analysis, which is basically the risk assessment or penetration testing? Or do you want to go into digital forensic? So these are the areas, and depending your interest and depending your on your aptitude, you can choose something. One thing I can assure you that you can't be, you can't be a generalist across the whole spectrum. But what's going to help you is you become a specialist in maybe 2 or 3 areas. Penetration testing is security assessment, and penetration testing is one which should come on top of it. And the other thing could be probably digital forensic, but digital forensic is altogether a different area. You can specialize in that as well. So there are multiple areas, and the islands which have been created in this course, those will help you decide for you that which area finally you want to specialize on.
And sir, we just got our last question here. As in, what is the ideal roadmap in cybersecurity to become an application security engineer?
That's good. So the career roadmap is what you're talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
So you normally start as a security tester, then you become an analyst, and then you become a security manager, and then you become a CISO. That's a path from your career progression perspective. So you start as a security tester, then your next path becomes security analyst, assessment and auditing analyst, and the third one is, of course, you become a security manager, takes care of security aspects of projects, and then at an organization level, it's like Chief Information Security Officer, CISO. And so that's a career path. The good thing is that organizations have started giving it due respect. CISO now normally, if not to board, the CISO directly reports to CEOs. So it's, so CISOs have their voice heard in boardroom now. Earlier, it used to be, CISO used to report into, let's say, a CTO or CIO, but that's the trend which is changing now. And that tells that how important this thing. If you go to most of these job portals, you will see lots of cybersecurity related job openings today. It's one of the top 5. If you know data analyst, cybersecurity, machine learning, those are the top job opportunities. So cybersecurity is one of the top career choice.
So last question for the day, we'll just take one more, which is, would you suggest CSSP or CISSP?
Both have their own advantages. Both have their own advantages. But it's your choice. Given to me, I would go for CISSP. I would suggest CISSP.
Brilliant. I think that's about it. We just have one last question saying that does 10 years of experience, how much years of experience is it needed to become a CISO, or what are the skills that is required to become a CISO?
So I think for CISO, you should, in my view, you should have been an analyst and a CISM. 10 years experience, I don't know what you're talking about. If it is purely in security, yeah, it's good one. It's a good experience. But end of the day, when you become a CISO, it's not pure technical. It's technical, managerial, and then leadership. So all 3 skills are required. And that's where I think the experience counts. So it depends. It also depends on the size of the organizations. If it is a larger organization, then probably the experience range would be higher. If it is a smaller organization, experience range could be lower. So you can't put it into, say, after 10 years, you will become a CISO. No, it can't be. It depends on size of organization, size of the landscape which you're going to handle, security landscape you're going to handle. And but definitely you need experience in security analysis. You need experience in incident management, and you need experience in leadership, overall leadership from business perspective.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jagdish, sir, to have shared all your valuable knowledge. I hope people who had attended the session have gained.
Last
the videos,
question. Like security
sure.
plus versus CEH. Which one is better for now?
CEH is more for a ethical hacker, right? It's more of a technical course. So if you are more technical, if you have a more technical bent, then CEH is for you. But it's more like a technical architect kind of. I wouldn't say technical architect in terms of development, but it's a pure technical stream where you get into. It has its own this thing. If you want to build a career as an independent consultant, and especially as a penetration consultant and security assessor, then CEH is very good.
So guys, I want to chip in also. So in India, a lot of opportunities are opening up, and many of these opportunities are in, let's say, in SOC centers, right, where you get to manage the security of the company, right? So there are, I think, 2 streams which have come up. One is more like a technical stream, which is in CEH, and then there are a lot of other skills also which are required, which are actually in demand in the industry. So I think sir can also tell a bit, because a lot of times we go for certifications which people go for certain kind of certifications, but the skills that are required in industries is much more diverse. Right. Is Jagdish, you want to say something about it?
No, perfect. All right.
So please register or on our platform also, right? So some of our counselors will reach out to you, right, on some of the career related questions, right? In Antwerp, we also provide 100% placement assistance, right? Because we are kind of reaching out to a lot of companies and understanding also what kind of job opportunities are they out there. And the way we have designed our course is such a way that we are able to give you guys an idea of what exactly the skills that are required, to start being productive from day one in the company, right? Because they're huge. You have seen, right? So many security breaches are happening, and now a lot of companies have started, have started their security operations also, not in-house, but a lot of them are giving it to third parties, and that's where a lot of opportunities are coming up, right? So do some more research. You need our help, right? Probably our counselor can reach out to you, right? The link is already shared with you. You can register there.
Thank you so much, Jagdish, sir. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good night. Stay safe. And thank you for the amazing sessions.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Antwerp team. And I hope everybody, wherever you are safe and well. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.